Hey everybody, welcome back to the shop. We got the okay from Vinny to videotape the restoration of his CJ3A. So I'm tearing it down today. And we'll start with the hood here, which is kind of messed up. Lots of dents. And it's got that classic oil canning to it. So we'll get that straightened out like that last CJ3B hood I did. Let me just pull this off. Okay, the motor has got the wrong head on it. That's got a CJ3A head on it. Try and get you in there with the camera. So we got to dig into that a little bit. And everything's going to need a rebuild up here. So it'll be a full mechanical and cosmetic restoration. And let me show you some of the worst sheet metal we have on it. Here's a driver's side wheelhouse. You can see all in this area and even down in this area it's mangled up. It took a hit in the quarter back here and pushed everything forward, and this is all wrinkled up inside here. And you can see some homemade welding. Terrible job they did putting that tail light panel in here. So from this corner right around to the joint at the door, we'll replace that in the inner wheel well. Okay, at some point in the Jeep's life it had a motor replacement, and they just kind of cut and opened up the sheet metal here to get at the bell housing bolts. This has all been torn, and here they cut it, I guess, to get the shifters out. So this is all mangled up here, but that's not too terrible. The floor under the gas tank is in real good shape, and there's actually still a floor in the toolbox, so the body's not in too bad a shape. Okay, here's the original gas tank, and it's in pretty tough shape inside, but it is an original. You can see the original logo stamped in there. So it is an original tank, and we're going to save it. But I think I can show you the inside. It was just a bunch of sludge, and it's really rusty in there. I don't know if you can see in there or not. So the whole thing's going to need to be cleaned out, and we'll probably put a coating in there, and we'll save the original tank. They're much better than any of the reproduction junk out there now, so we'll save this and put it back in. Okay, we're going to bring it up on the lift, and I'll show you what the underside looks like, and it's actually in pretty good shape, so we'll go under there next. Okay, there's the lower tank of the radiator, and you can see it's starting to weep some antifreeze. The tank is just worn out right there, so we need some attention on the radiator. Otherwise, pretty standard as far as the Jeep goes underneath here. Everything is grimy and greasy, but it kept everything pretty nice. The frame is in remarkable shape, not a lot of pitting or anything. And underneath the transmission transfer case slung a lot of oil, so that's just going to need to be cleaned up and de-blasted and put back together again. We're going to rebuild the transmission transfer case and axles and stuff, but the body, as you can see, is in pretty good shape. Still got some of the original gray paint on the rear floor here, and that's in good shape. Exhaust system is no good, but we're going to change that out. And we've got the Dana 44 in there that 3A's had. Not the Model 41 like the 2A. This is the standard Dana 44 back here. And that'll get opened up and rebuilt. It's got an original set of steps on it that we're going to put back on there. They just need some straightening out. They got bent up along the way somewhere. But we'll straighten those out again and get those back on there. And that's what the underside looks like. So we'll just continue taking it apart, get everything disassembled, and start sandblasting and rebuilding the mechanical stuff. Okay, here's one of the original wheels and rims, and they look pretty good on the outside. We're going to start breaking them down, see what they look like on the inside. Okay, we got the beads broken, and we'll try and get this tire off and pull the tube out. Rim looks just as good on the inside as it does on the outside. So we'll get the other one broken down and we'll add this to our pile of stuff we're going to sandblast. Okay, guys ask me all the time how to get the steering wheels off. Sometimes they'll come right off in your hand easy, and other times you got to put a puller on there. Now this one's starting to crack already, but it's not too terrible, and we don't want to make a real mess of it because we could easily V this out, put some epoxy in there and clean it up and make it real nice and save an original wheel. So this nut happened to be loose. I don't know why it was so loose, but we're going to pull the nut off, and we know that we're putting a wiring harness in here, so we're not even going to bother with this. We're just going to cut the horn button right off because that's coming out anyway, and we'll deal with that with the new harness. We'll just fish it through the tube. So the next thing is I got a gear puller set here, and this is the piece that we use to slip behind the wheel, and I'm going to put a 2-jaw puller on here right now. I've got a whole set here, you can see. So we'll get set up with a puller and we'll bite onto this ring and see if this wheel is going to pop off for us or not. So I'll be right back with you when I get everything set up. Okay, here's our steering wheel pulling setup. This is the original steering wheel nut that the horn button would attach onto. We keep that on there so we don't deform the tube. And we've got a spacer. This is just a bushing out of a carrier bearing set, just something with a hole in it to center up the screw there. And we've got our jaws hooked on that ring that we made, so we'll just lube up the screw a little bit, and we'll give it a turn and see what happens. Okay, naturally, like most of them, it's going to give us some trouble. So we'll just see if we can shock it a little bit. We're losing our puller here. Okay, I've added a C-clamp to keep our puller on our ring here. So I put this C-clamp on because this device here that's supposed to hold the jaws from spreading, it's not holding it good enough. So this is becoming a real bear of a steering wheel to get off. We're trying some lube in there just for the hell of it. But I'm going to get the impact gun and we're gonna put some impact pressure on this, see if we can't get that thing to pop. So I'll be right back with you. Okay, we're going to try and shock it a little bit with the impact gun here, see what happens. There it goes. Just set up off of here. It's still fighting me a little bit. Let me just tap that with a rubber mallet. Okay, I just got a rubber mallet here. We're going to tap it and see if we can't get it off. Oh, there it is. And we didn't do any damage to the back side. There's a few cracks that were there and around here that we're going to have to fill anyway. But it is an original steering wheel, and we're going to save it because the reproductions are so horrible. And I'll show you the process on how to restore a steering wheel when we get to it. But the biggest thing was getting it off here. It's on a spline there, and it's just tapered, so the more you tighten it down, the deeper on the spline it goes. And when a Jeep sits outside for any length of time, water will get down in there and they'll get all frozen up. But if you have something you can back up your steering wheel with, like this, you can normally get them off. And we had to use the impact gun on that, but it did come off. So a few more little nuts and bolts and things like that, and we'll lift the body off next and take a look at the chassis from the top side. So we're gaining on it, and we'll be back with another video and show you what's happening on this project as it happens.